after today's announcement, let there be no doubt about who is winning the battle of ideas in Britain. It is the Labour Party. Today it feels like the Chancellor has finally realised the problems that the country are facing. We first called for a windfall tax on oil and gas producers nearly 5 months ago to help struggling families and pensioners. Today he has announced that policy, but he can't dare say the words. It's a policy that dare not speak its name with this Chancellor. And it was Labour that first highlighted the unfairness of this government's buy now, pay later compulsory loan scheme. It shouldn't have taken a rocket scientist to work out that this wouldn't cut it, and we pointed it out at the time. But that is just the mark of this Klarner Chancellor. Announce now, ditch later. Here he is, once again, the Treasury's one-man rebuttal unit, the Chancellor himself. For months, it has been clear that more was necessary to help people bring their bills down. So what took this government so long? Every day that they have refused to act, £53 million more added to Britain's household bills during this cost of living crisis. This government's dither and delay has cost our country dearly. On this side of the House, we welcome the fact that the government is finally acting on our calls to introduce a windfall tax.
Absolutely, our calls.
And it's good to see the SNP U-turning today too and saying that they also are in favour of a windfall tax on oil and gas profits. Well done to the SNP. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, it was a painful journey to get the government to this point. First, Conservative ministers said the oil and gas producers are struggling. That was the Education Secretary, I think. But then the BP Chief Executive said that the energy crisis was a cash machine for his business. So they moved to the second defence. Ministers claimed that a windfall tax would put off vital investment. But the industry said that a windfall tax wouldn't even change their plans. So then they said that a windfall tax would be unconservative. So unconservative, Madam Deputy Speaker, that Margaret Thatcher, George Osborne and now this government are doing exactly that. And finally, the Chancellor himself said that it would be silly to offer help now, given that he didn't know the full scale of the challenge. What nonsense. It shouldn't take £500,000 of publicly funded focus groups for the Chancellor to realise that helping families and pensioners is exactly the right thing to do. Now, every day for 5 months, the Prime Minister sent Conservative MPs out to attack the windfall tax and yet defend an increase in taxes on working people. He's made them vote against it, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And for months he's sent his MPs to defend the litany of rule-breaking in number 10 Downing Street set out in the Sue Gray report yesterday. Now, there is a lesson here for Conservative MPs. You can't believe a word that this Prime Minister says. And as long as he is in office, he's going to continue making fools out of each and every one of you. If they keep him there, Madam Deputy Speaker, that is the choice that they are making. Now, the problem, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that you can't fake fairness. You either believe in it or you don't. Labour called for a windfall tax because it is the right thing to do. The Conservatives are doing it because they needed a new headline. And we see that too from all the other things that the Chancellor didn't address today. The non-DOMs keeping their tax privileges while they increase taxes on working people. Young working people paying more, but those who earn money buying and selling stocks and shares not paying a penny more. Contracts handed out to Conservative friends and donors while British businesses miss out. global tech giants making billions in profits, while smaller businesses and the energy-intensive industry struggle with higher bills and higher taxes from the Conservative Party. And £11.8 billion lost in fraud because of a total lack of respect for taxpayers' money. That's why we should have had an emergency budget today. To spike the hike in national insurance, to cut business rates for high street and small businesses, to provide help for energy-intensive firms and ensure that every pound of taxpayers' money is spent wisely. Madam Deputy Speaker, we will look closely at the detail of today's announcements. Most of them seem to have been written by us. But so far, we have seen nothing to suggest that this Conservative government has the ideas or the energy to tackle the challenges that we face as a country. A Labour government would have addressed the underlying weaknesses in our economy so we can stop this spiral of inflation, lift wages and provide greater security for families and for our country. The truth is that they are running our economy and people's living standards into the ground. We are forecast to have the slowest growth and the highest inflation in the G7. This government has weakened the foundations of our economy, leaving us exposed to shocks as we lurch from crisis to crisis. And still they refuse to come forward with a real plan to fix our broken system and provide the security we need to face the future with confidence. That means boosting our energy security too. We need to do much more to reduce reliance on imported oil and gas. That is why Labour's energy security plan includes a programme of home insulation to reduce bills, not just for 1 year, but for years to come, and to get us all the way to net zero. It's why we've urged the government to double onshore wind capacity and to end the delay on nuclear power.
Absolutely.
And while we're at it, why did this Tory government get rid of our gas storage?
Order. It's important that we also hear the Shadow Chancellor, Rachel Reeves.
And Madam Deputy Speaker, while we're at it, why did this Tory government get rid of our gas storage, which would have left us better protected from wild fluctuations in prices? When will this government provide the strong leadership that this country needs? Now, there are a number of questions for the Chancellor about his announcement today. How many people are still waiting for the support that they were promised in March? A third of the Chancellor's own constituents are still waiting for their council tax discounts. Is it the case that households are still being asked to pay the supplier of last resort costs for those energy suppliers who have gone bust as a result of a decade of failed energy market regulation? Can the Chancellor tell the House how is this package being funded outside of the proceeds of a windfall tax? And if you have more than one home, do you get multiple discounts on your energy bills? Now, I know that the Chancellor has adopted 2 of our ideas today, but can I ask why he has not adopted a third? A cut in VAT on energy bills. It was once touted as the big Brexit bonus, but he's ditched that too. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is a discredited, chaotic and rudderless Conservative government whose policies rarely last more than a few months. We pushed for a windfall tax. They adopted it. We said the buy now, pay later scheme was wrong, and now they have ditched it. This government is out of ideas, out of touch and out of time. When it comes to the big issues facing this country, the position is now clear. We lead, they follow.